Hello there and welcome back to another video. Now 10.1 is about 2 weeks away, maybe just under 2 weeks away depending on when I release this video, and I think it's now time to start talking about what I'm going to pick as my main. Now I've done these videos in the past and I've always said I'm going to go on my shaman. My shaman's been my main character since Legion when I came back to the game, and I've loved him. I've loved the healing, even though sometimes it may be a little bit underpowered. It's been something that I've really enjoyed, and when DPSing out in the open world, I've kind of switched from elemental to enhancement and back and forth since Legion. I think I took a break at the end of Shadowlands, and Shadowlands I didn't really play because it wasn't my cup of tea, and it wasn't something that I wanted to play because of the community atmosphere. And the story was really poor. But coming into Dragonflight, so the first patch of Dragonflight has been unbelievable, and I'm going to be doing a couple of videos about what I think of the first patch. Has it kind of redeemed what Shadowlands did? And I'm also going to be doing a video about the leveling, because I've leveled nearly every single character now and every single class, and it's been something which I've actually really enjoyed this expansion, unlike Shadowlands, which it felt like a massive grind. But that's not what this video is about today. This video is about what am I going to main in 10.1. Now, a lot of you may be sitting there going, well, Moo, you're literally just going to main your shaman. But actually, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I think it actually hurts me to say this. I don't think I'm going to be maining my shaman. The shaman has not changed that much since Shadowlands. Yes, the healing is a little bit underpowered, and when we're talking about Mythic Plus, it's not performing amazingly. When we're talking about raiding, with the shaman being what I would call the kind of the backbone of raid healing on massive groups, it just hasn't been there, unfortunately. And I've seen myself jumping to the priest or the invoker or even the paladin. The druid, still don't like the hots, but it's a contender. So the question is, what do I want to do? Well, healing isn't going to really get you anywhere fast. So, I mean, you can heal through open world content, but you're going to be killing things very slowly. And although you can keep yourself alive, it's not very fun, ultimately. So I think the way I'm going to do this is I'm not going to pick one main, because I don't think that's reasonable. I think I'm going to pick two. Okay, so the reason I'm going to pick two is because, one, I'm probably going to be PvPing a little bit, so I need to pick a main for PvP and then a main for PvE. Now my PvE and my PvP characters are probably going to be healing classes, but I'm going to talk to you about a few contenders. So when we're talking about DPS, I've really enjoyed some of the DPS characters, classes in this patch. The first DPS class I leveled up, which had no healing abilities, was the Demon Hunter. Now, I love the Demon Hunter, and I've always loved the Demon Hunter for one specific reason. I love how fast-paced it is. It's not clunk, clunk, clunk. It's run, slice, slash, jump, whiz, backwards. It feels like you're some sort of ninja. It's everything I want the rogue to be, but it's like a magical rogue. I've always loved the way that you have the mobility. I love the way that you have the self-healing when it comes to kind of absorbing and leeching, especially if you're playing tank mode. But even in Havoc, you can still have that healing ability. Am I going to be maining the Demon Hunter? No, I'm not. I'm really sorry, but even though I find it really fun, it doesn't have that uniqueness to me. Whereas another character that I've played is the Warrior. Now, the Warrior, you think of the Warrior as being like the most standard character alongside the Priest in MMOs, right? But the Warrior's really surprised me. And actually, I've been tanking more on the Warrior than anything else. But Arms Warrior with a massive sword is unbelievable. So when it comes to DPS, it may be the warrior that fills that spot. I can rule off your casters, your mage, your warlock, even though an honourable mention to the warlock, I've really, really enjoyed. To be honest, an honourable mention to the mage as well, but the warlock I've really, really enjoyed. The mage, I've never liked frost, I've never liked fire. Arcane is pretty fun, but it's gonna be getting a nerf because it's been the most powerful mage spec this patch. I think we're gonna see a little more excitement with the fire and the frost. Warlock, destruction all through Legion, all through Shadowlands, but I tell you now, the Affliction Warlock is making a comeback, and if that Affliction Warlock stays on the path that it currently is, you may be seeing in 10.2 or 10.1.5 me having a bit of a play with the Warlock. The Hunter, I've never enjoyed the Hunter. Survival looked kind of good at the end of Shadowlands, especially in the PvP zone, but it's not something that I like. I think it's a very easy class to play. It's not very dynamic for me personally, and it's not something that I'm kind of looking forward to playing. Same with the Rogue. Never really liked the Rogue. I think the Rogue, please bear in mind, if played correctly, all of these classes are powerful. And when we're talking about min-maxing, we're talking about things being played perfectly, and things aren't always going to be played perfectly. So the Rogue, again, isn't something that I enjoy. I think it's quite clunky. The only thing I think Rogues are good at is open world PvP. And when you're doing PvP in rated battlegrounds, it's just griefing people. Really, it's something that I've not really enjoyed. You could say the same about the Hunter, especially in Eye of the Storm, when you knock them off the edge with Scatter Shot, which is something I love doing, by the way. But those two I'm not going to be picking. The Monk, when it comes to DPS, I've never liked Windwalker. Again, I think it's just very clunky. The one class out of all of them that I can tell you I'm definitely not going to play, and I think is my least favourite, and spoiler alert when it comes to the levelling process, but my least favourite character and class to play at the moment is the Death Knight. I think the Death Knight is so slow. It's about building and spending, I get that, but it's just so slow, and I've really not enjoyed it. And I tried levelling through the time walking dungeons, I've tried levelling through just normal zones, and I found it really, really boring. So when it comes to DPSing, I'm going to cheat here, and I think I'm going to pick the Paladin. The Paladin, even before the buff at the end of, was it 1.5? The end of 1.5 or the start of 1.7? Sorry, 10.7. I think, I can't remember, but it was before they got the buff. I really enjoyed it then, and the fact that it's more powerful now, even though it's had a slight nerf. I still really, really enjoy it. So the Paladin is definitely going to be the one that I'm using for DPS. I think the Paladin I would be using for my PvP character. However, the problem with that is you still can't do queued content PvE cross-faction, and I've just changed it to a human Paladin. So I think my plan is the other character that I'm going to pick for my PvP. So we're going to have the Paladin as PvE, as a PvP character. I'm sorry, and I haven't mentioned it yet, but it's going to be the Priest. I love the Priest. It's the most bog standard healer in the entire game, but I love it. Holy Priest is just unbelievable. Can't say that I've really delved much into Shadow. And Discipline is fun. It's quite difficult, but especially in PvP, you have to work quite closely with your teammate. And when I'm doing arenas with one particular person, it can go either way. But Holy's just fun. And if anyone's thinking about, do I play the Priest? Is it something that's too easy? Is it something that's too hard? Discipline is something that's quite hard, and it does take a while to get your head round. But Holy is just, I suppose the best words to say is holy shit. It's an amazing healer. It was the second class that I leveled up during Dragonflight after my shaman. And the only reason I leveled up the shaman first is because it's a nostalgia thing. but the priest is unbelievable. So, conclusion. The two characters that I'm going to be playing in 10.1 are the paladin and the priest. They both have the opportunity to DPS. They both have the opportunity to heal. And the paladin, especially with the changes coming to the tanks, the paladin will be able to tank too. So, I've got another question for you guys, and I like doing this at the end of videos, is I've got a question for you guys. What characters are you going to main in 10.1? I'd like to know your role, I'd like to know your class, and if you're feeling adventurous and want to tell me a little bit more, I want to know why. Which class suits the best ranged and melee DPS? We're going to split those up because there's quite a few, and I think it'd be unfair to mix those two. Once again, thank you so much for joining me in this video, and I will speak to you all very, very soon.